am excited today to bring you another episode of the hashtag Red Light with some of our amazing champions. I am Colette Portis, COO and Master Business Coach at Red Development Group. And my amazing partner, Miss Reggie Kemp, is not with us today, but she is with us in spirit. But I do have some amazing people with us today. So Red Light is all about putting a spotlight on our champions. And our champions are the businesses, organizations, and individuals who support us, who champion us, who jump in the car and go riding with us when we're on our crazy business adventures. They support us, they sponsor us, all of that good stuff. And we in turn do the same for them. And so this is one of our ways to help the world understand how amazing our partners are. And so you see the two lovely faces here. These are our guests, Miss Nicole and Alisa Parker. They're the sisters and owners of A&P Consulting, and they are also the founders of Sisters in Business, both organizations which are out of Michigan, and they're doing some phenomenal work. And so I'm excited to have a conversation with them today and allow you to be a fly on the wall. So, hi, Lisa and Nicole.
Hi there.
So, you guys are in Michigan.
We are.
You know, one day I'll bottle some sun and send it to you guys.
Please do. We need it.
Or maybe I'll deliver it. That way it comes with me when I come.
Yes.
And that way I don't have to worry about the cold or snow.
Here we go.
I think I like that idea better. So whoever wants to start is fine with me, but I would like to know, somebody tell us a little bit about A&P and yourself, and the other one tell us a little bit about yourself and Sisters in Business.
Well, I guess I'll start. So A&P Consulting is a social innovation consulting firm. The A&P stands for Alisa and Nicole Parker, so they're just simply our initials. But what we like to do is we help the change agents, we equip them to go out there and be the change they want to be. So we help individuals, communities, and organizations basically help folks who are trying to change the social condition of marginalized communities. And so that can be in business, or that can be in politics, or that can be in the nonprofit space. But at the end of the day, it's how do we change the world and really focus on helping pull our marginalized communities out of the margins.
I like it. And what is your name?
My name is, I'm Alisa. I'm the A in the A&P.
Awesome. Thank you, Alisa.
And I am the N in the A&P. I'm Nicole Parker. So yes, everything Lisa just said, we came together back in 2017. Actually, after our family, we also have a nonprofit because we don't know how to stop building things.
Right.
As a family, we came together and we needed some strategic planning done. And Alisa and I volunteered to do it. And the rest is kind of history. We saw that we had a natural chemistry to working together. And we began to do other work in the community for free and realized that we could actually monetize the work that we're doing and make an even greater impact by actually becoming a business.
Awesome. So what is your nonprofit? What's your nonprofit?
So our nonprofit that we have with our family is called Charlie's Place, and the place stands for Pursuing Leadership and Community Engagement. And we really do a lot of work around community and youth and family. We do recreation, so we have a basketball league. We also have various community events. We actually have one coming up called the Mother-Son Dance, which we actually had to pivot, because that's what we're all doing, into a virtual space. So we do a lot of community engagement, but really talking about how do we bring the youth and family together through recreation and also community building.
I love it. See, I learn new stuff too when I come here, because one of our promises is you will know something by the time you leave here that you didn't know when you got here. So I love Charlie's Place. I'm excited about it. So tell me then, because you guys have another organization that I love as well called Sisters in Business. Tell me about that one.
Yes, so Sisters in Business, that came out. So Alisa and I are actually siblings, and there's 6 of us. And out of the 6, we have 2 brothers and 4 girls. And so the 4 of us, in addition to me and Lisa having our own business, our 2 other sisters, Talisha Parker, she has her own cosmetology business, so she does hair. We also have a sister who does graphic design, and her graphic design business is Above and Beyond Design. And back in 2016, when I graduated from grad school, I did a lot of research on Black women in entrepreneurship and really saw that there was a lack of support when it came to how do we build community as well as support women of color in business back in my hometown. So one day I literally texted my sisters and said, hey, let's do a brunch. And let's do a brunch to bring women of color who either are aspiring entrepreneurs or are in business together. And we literally thought it'd be 15 women. In our first one, we had 50. And it continued to grow. And so we ended up calling it Sisters in Business because we said, what would we call this brunch? And we said, we're sisters. We all have businesses, so we're Sisters in Business. So that's literally where it started, December 2017. Fast forward to May 2020, we've done brunches, we do pitch competitions, we also do workshops. I think we've given away close to $10,000 to different women throughout West Michigan through our pitch competition. So
I love that. And the brunch, I can't wait till the next one because I'm coming.
Yeah.
I want to be there. So we had the amazing opportunity to sponsor the last brunch. And that was so awesome as we got to watch online as sponsors and just be a part of something really amazing and see some amazing women with great ideas doing some great stuff. Like there was what was the coffee?
Mama Lulu coffee.
Mama Lilu's coffee. Love that. The artist
Tanisha Pyron.
Tanisha Pyron. Her work is dope. Who else was there? Carmen
Bell Voice. So yeah, we had how many women pitched in the December?
Altogether we had, I believe, so we did a youth pitch competition. So we had 3 youth who pitched, and then we had 5 women who also pitched.
Yeah, and it was amazing. It was amazing to see that number of women in the same room supporting each other and speaking proudly about what they do and doing some really amazing things. And one of the, and I guess this speaks to who you guys are and what you do with A&P, because one of the amazing things about each of those businesses, including those, the children that pitched as well, is that they all had some sort of social cause or something like that was near and dear to their heart that they support. And that's one of the things that's important for us at Red Development Group. And we ensure that our clients have some sort of social cause that they support. We build it into their strategic plan because we grow as a community. If every small business did that, we could literally change the world, because it's somewhere between 89 and 99% of the business in our country is small business. And so if we're that much of the community, then we could make some great change. But it's important to connect ourselves to some sort of social cause and carry the mantle for that. So awesome stuff. I love that you guys come from this family of entrepreneurs and everybody's like, I'm getting out here and I'm getting it on my own. I love that. And I am sure that one, it presents its challenges, because entrepreneurship and business ownership is challenging, period. But the other thing that I would be interested in understanding is whether or not you all find that because you come from that kind of family, the support you get within your family as entrepreneurs, would I be correct in assuming that it's different than those who don't come from a family of entrepreneurs get? Because, you know, when you don't come from a family of entrepreneurs, everybody thinks you're crazy when you strike out on this.
Absolutely. I think that one, we talk about it all the time, just having the type of support system that we have allows us to just do different things. So, you know, I still work full time in a 9 to 5, but because I'm able to work, Nicole is able to do our business full time, which is a blessing. Other sacrifices that we make as entrepreneurs is like we've all lived together. So, but that in itself is a blessing. We were able to come together, live in the same house, which everybody can't do that.
Right.
But it's really good, one, to have a resource where we have a house where we can live together in, but two, just to have the kind of relationship that we're able to live together. So that provides the support that we need for sometimes daycare, sometimes if somebody gets sick. When we first kicked off Sisters in Business, I had to have surgery, so I was down for about 8 weeks. I had my sisters there to help take care of me as we were still doing things with the business.
Just other sister had a baby.
Yeah, other sister had a baby. So it just, all the things that could create opportunities, or really for some of the entrepreneurs we work with, all the things that sometimes causes them to go out of business, we're able to like come and pick up the slack so the other one can do what they need to do. Talisha right now has had to pivot. So her business is called Talisha House of Styles. And because salons have been closed, she's able to lean on her other skill set as a designer. And so she's actually been one of those who started to make masks. And popped up with many orders of making masks. And so having family members, my mom was like, hey, I'll keep your daughter for the weekend because I know you're going to be sewing.
Yeah.
So just being able to do that, living in a smaller community. So we literally, our house is literally about 7 minutes from my dad. So my dad will come over, or he'll say, hey, you need some food. So the things that you just need in terms of support is right there. And we're really blessed. I definitely count it as a privilege. And then just to have that understanding, I think we would not have a Sisters in Business if Nicole wasn't able to have the flexibility to not have to go get a 9 to 5. And so I think that's a big privilege, like being able to have an environment where she can innovate and be in a space of, you don't have to worry about these bills or having a roof over your head while we're trying to build something. I think is just a blessing. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't have that support. A lot of entrepreneurs make it in spite of, but I think that just being able to have a space and a family that says, look, I know you're trying to build something. I see the bigger picture. Come handle your business has just been tremendous.
I think it's amazing. You guys are unusual for an African-American family where all of you are living together. And it's one of the things that gets me on my soapbox when I'm talking to entrepreneurs, because a lot of times we'll make the transition from employee to entrepreneur, but we want to live the employee lifestyle. And it's like your lifestyle literally has to change.
Absolutely.
Like when I decided that I was no longer going to be an employee, one of the first things I got rid of was TV. One, I needed to get my time back. And two, I didn't want to invest any more money in paying for cable. It was like, what could I do in my business to make that happen? And I know a lot of times people have kids and stuff like that, but the truth of the matter is kids will pivot and respond to change way better than we do in a lot of cases. And so I think a lot of times we use that as a crutch. But what I love is the fact that all of you reside in the same home, therefore bringing most of your expenses together. Some of you are still working. Some of you all of you are moving your businesses, but you are able to support each other. And more than that, we, at the end of our conversation with the red light last week, we kind of talked about those who are in the hair industry and things like that, and how they're really struggling with the fact that they have to change. And regardless of, you know, if this lasted for the rest of the year and you're, you know, in the hair industry, you've got to figure something else out. It's not enough to just stop and say they won't let me open my doors. So I love the fact, and I think we can attribute it to the fact that she comes from an entrepreneurial family, that your sister pivoted to do something as simple as make masks, because we might think it takes a lot, but it really, you know, you can watch 50 million YouTube videos. It don't take that much. You can cut a sock up and make a mask, you know. But she found herself an income stream.
Absolutely.
You know, that probably is not about to go away anytime soon.
No.
You know?
She brought in 2 big bulk orders within the last week and a half.
Wow.
So,
wow. I think it's a testament to, and it provides ideas and things like that for how people can pivot their business and think outside of the box. It's one of the things that I think is the silver lining that has happened during this time, is it has forced all of us, everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, from the president to people who are homeless. Everybody has had to figure out how to live and think outside of the box in order to survive this. So that's, I just think, I love y'all. I just think it's awesome. Y'all make me all warm and fuzzy on the inside. So let me ask this question. So one of the things that I know about A&P is you guys are really focused on social change and social innovation, which you don't hear a whole lot. The other thing that I love about you guys is that you know what you do. You're not just consultants. Your specialty is social innovation for communities and individuals, and you're not trying to do everything for everybody, because that's not who you are. So tell us what is social innovation, because you don't hear that a lot, and it's you know, it's kind of new. It's been around for a little while, but it's kind of new. So what do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I remember when I was first introduced to the term social innovation and social entrepreneurship, I was like oblivious to it. Social innovation for me really means, how do you innovate to create and impact society for the social good? Oftentimes people say, I want to create change, but we're not really always thinking about how does that impact society, and how can we innovate from a place that will do better for everyone? And so when we talk about social innovation, especially when we talk about how do we improve the lives of marginalized communities, is saying, how do we innovate and how do we tap into what is already there on a social level? We talk about doing a lot of work on a grassroots level. I think that's what our father has taught us, because Charlie's Place is actually named after our father. And my father and our mother, they were in the community doing social work. They both were social workers. So coming from a social background and realizing we've always been innovating and creating and responding to the social needs, and then being able to match that with innovation and say, how do we inspire people at the margins to say, you have power and strength in who you are and you're resilient, and we can use that to be innovative to not only shape your life, but shape the world. So for me, that's what social innovation means, is saying, we are innovative people and we have the power and the tools and the resiliency to change the social conditions around us.
Listen, I think that makes us think about social change differently. Because a lot of times when we think about social change, we want what's already in place to happen for everyone. That's normally our idea of social change. But what I love about innovative social innovation is that the fact that you said innovation means that it requires that we create something different. So that we can create social change. And so I love that, because, you know, the truth is we don't have equality across all ethnicities and genders and things like that in our country. And oftentimes the way we make an attempt to combat that is to say, take this thing and blanket it over everything and everybody. But is that really the answer? You know, is that really the answer, or is there another answer that's inside of you or someone else? Or is there a product or service that hasn't been created that needs to be to service this particular audience? So I love that you all are doing that, and that you're using those two words together. Social and innovation is exciting. So I want to go back to something for a minute, because I don't think we can continue the conversation without it. One of the things that you said was both of you have talked about your parents, and I'm really big on parental modeling. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who was ranting. She was going on about, and she's talking about her kid, and she's like, well, he doesn't listen, and he doesn't listen. And so I start laughing. And I said, you mean to tell me he ain't doing any of that stuff that you ain't doing too?
Right.
And so she started laughing. I said, you want to make him do what you're not doing. And then you want to tell him, don't do what I'm doing, do what I told you to do. And that has never worked. You know, that only works on maybe 10% of the population who's like me, who don't play. We ain't getting in trouble, so forget it. Everybody else is like, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna take the risk and do it. But you both talked about what your parents modeled for you. So talk a little bit about the richness in that, because I think too, as kids of entrepreneurs, and we had this conversation with Red Light with Thomas Brown a couple weeks ago, and people were commenting and asking questions, so it was really big. But talk a little bit about, you know, what it meant to have your parents model for you, number one, and when they were modeling for you, what was your attitude about it? Because I'm willing to bet when they were modeling it for you, you didn't have the same attitude you got right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so our parents were both active in the community. I would say that my dad was very active in the Kalamazoo community. There's an article from our local newspaper from several years ago that called him Mr. Everything. And so it's funny because when I was in high school, I was voted most active because I was involved in everything. And so we definitely picked up on that trait. And my mom was extremely active in church. But one of the things that they required of us was we had to be out there and we had to be moving. I think the thing that's interesting when we talk about social innovation is that neither one of our parents started a business, but they were always creating stuff. So they were always out in the community creating new programs. My dad was instrumental in creating so many youth development programs that are still standing in the community today. But the catalyst for why they did stuff was because they needed to create change. And a big part of them wanting to create change was to create change for their kids. And so whenever like my mom would start doing stuff in the church, it really started with, I need my kids to be exposed to this thing. So I'll start teaching Sunday school. I'll start teaching this, you know, specialty class. My dad, it was, I'll help start a basketball league and all my daughters are going to play. And so everything really was from this place of, it wasn't just about starting things because they just wanted something to do or they wanted to be important. They wanted to change the community. And so they knew if they needed it, if we needed it, other people in the community needed it. And then even at home, we were always taking people in. We always had somebody staying with us. We always had somebody's kid that needed some meals. We were always picking up somebody. My mom was that person that before school was just bringing everybody in. Everybody was eating breakfast. Everybody was getting their hair combed. And so just this whole idea of whatever we do, it has to be about creating change. It has to be about creating impact.
Serving.
Really, right. In serving, it was ingrained. And so as we got older, I think what has been different, and how you learn more and you learn differently, is that part about monetizing and understanding your value and how do you bring this in a different space. And so I think as we, the next generation of this, has learned this, we're learning now to say, okay, we don't have to do everything for free.
Right.
We have value. And these programs and services that we're offering, how do we do this? Because as we bring in income to our family, that also is going to create an impact. And so I think what Nicole and I and our sisters are learning is really being that next generation of learning how to do the business and the social. And our hope is that, our nieces and nephews and, the children that come up behind us and our family, they'll have those two things and they'll be able to create even bigger impact.
Yeah, and to add on to that, for me, I was really introduced to, like I said, to the concept because of Charlie's Place. And one of the things I wanted to know was, how do we make Charlie's Place sustainable long term? And everything that I had seen, and that's part of the reason why we even started Charlie's Place, is my dad would put in all this work to create things and somehow it would get stopped, right? And so we were saying we need to create our own thing so we can be in control of what that innovation and that impact looks like and keeping it long term. And so when I went to George Mason and found a social entrepreneurship program, I had never heard of it. I was like, social entrepreneurship, social innovation. And that for me really was my catalyst. It was, how do we sustain Charlie's Place? And going to George Mason and getting into the social entrepreneurship program opened my mind into a whole nother world. But then clearly seeing even in that space, it's very inequitable. Right? It was the conversation of social innovation, social entrepreneurship is, how do we go in and help people? And I was seeing it from the opposite, right? I was seeing it from the grassroots, community organizing, community building, watching my parents build things to say, hey, no, people in communities know what they want and are trying really hard to create that. It's not necessarily we need a top-down handout, but it's how do we have access to the resources to help us scale and have impact.
Yes. Buy him, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he'll eat forever. And I see, this is what gets me excited. Like I'm about to jump out of my skin over here. Because what I love about what you're doing is, and I know people go, she says she loves everything, but I do, because I get to do stuff that I love all the time. And I get to connect with amazing people who do stuff that I love. But here's the thing. It's a different way of thinking about it, because I'll tell you, in underserved communities, which my hometown where I come from is an underserved community, we're not looking for a handout. We're not looking for you to come and do it for us. And we're not looking for you to tell us what we want or need. What we're looking for are the tools and the resources to help us go do it ourselves, because we are very capable of doing that. And so the idea of social innovation means that you're taking a concept, innovation, and then injecting it into a community to say, we understand that you know what you want. We understand you know what your needs are. Okay, so create something to solve that problem. And your parents, they may not have ever owned, a business, but they were entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. Your father was an intrapreneur, which a lot of times we don't have a lot of conversation about intrapreneurs. And intrapreneurs are those people inside of other organizations that are creating and innovating and things like that, and using entrepreneurial skills and all of that kind of stuff to build and grow inside of an organization. And what you guys did, which I think is a testament to your legacy, is that you guys took your dad from inside of that community or that company or wherever he was, and moved him out of the intrapreneurial space into the entrepreneurial space, and then said, I'll carry the mantle, which is so amazing, right? So, okay, so tell me about how you thought about it when, what did you feel? Because there's children right now who have parents that are entrepreneurs going, I don't want to do that. I don't want anything to do with it, because I see how my parents struggles. I see how, I can't have the latest Jordans. I can't get a video game. We don't have cable. We're poor. We're, all of these thoughts that they're having. but they don't see what the parent is doing. And so what were some of you guys' feelings at that time?
We didn't want to do it. I mean, we didn't want to do it. I would say, I mean, we were definitely we were the mailroom. We were, we were going to all these meetings. I just remember not wanting to be involved in all this stuff and being told we had to. And even from like the recreational programs, I did not enjoy playing sports as easy. And you can't. I did it. I mean, there were certain things that I wanted to do, but I did not want to be running track and playing basketball. But a lot of the programming that my dad developed was sports programming. And so, hey, he got a family of 6 kids. All of us, we were a whole team. So we definitely were going to be put out there to do that stuff. And so it's funny because I feel like when I was, we had to do it. We were raised very strict. My parents did not play. And so we grew up in one of those households where it was like, you're going to do what we tell you to do. And when you can do what you want to do, then, do it and pay for it.
Yeah.
So, when I got to college, it's just funny how you end up falling into the things that, you were raised to do. The Bible tells us train up a child. Like, that's so true, because I found myself coming back to things and then finding a new enjoyment for them for myself. And so even though I'm not like, I like basketball, I'm not like I'm not out there, although I did try to play yesterday, which God help, but to get some exercise. But I did, it was funny because I was like good and grown when I decided I was gonna start running like 5Ks. And it like kind of made my dad chuckle, because it was like, you hated track. And now you're out here trying to run on your own, like just for fun, like nobody's making you do it.
Right.
Or just the things that you learn, really starting to understand the value of why he was in the community the way that he was, what he was advocating for, and really gleaning to those lessons and like, that stuff coming back. But growing up, I mean, I tried to not do a lot of things and then found myself right back there, because you just realize how the world works, and you realize that, yeah, your parents were right, and they're trying to, prepare you for what's out there.
Yeah.
It's in you.
What's some of those tools that you guys learned that you're using every day now?
I definitely think working through it, I mean, getting things done. I think doing what we've done with Sisters in Business, there were times when, as we were planning, our last 2018, we just decided to jump out the box and say we were going to do a pitch competition. And we didn't have any money.
Not a dime.
We did not have a dime. And we got to be about a month before, and tickets weren't selling like we wanted to. The sponsorships weren't coming in, and it wasn't for lack of trying. And we had this moment where we were meeting at Sisters, and we're like, I don't know, should we be doing this? And I felt like I channeled my mother.
Yes, you did.
And I actually made them like chant back that we were going to do it, and it was going to be great. And I just remember times when, when we wanted to give up on something, my mom did not let us. There was no giving up. And she would get to praying and having you say the affirmations. And that's what we did. We said some affirmations in that moment, and we pressed on, and things came together, ended up being great. And so I think that spirit of just faith and pressing on, seeing things that look impossible and just doing it anyway, all of those things come from my parents. Both of them came from backgrounds of extreme poverty. And so, what we know now as adults, like, it's a miracle that they were even able to birth us, to raise us, to have all of their right mind, even though we thought they were crazy. To be able to see really better what they came from and how they completely had to build themselves, but they could pour into us, it really says a lot, and it gives me a lot to say, okay, I don't have an excuse, because
Right.
they had nothing, you know. We can have the support system that we have, and the support system that they built in us. My parents, my mom was really big on saying that, you know, when you and your when me and your dad are gone, it's just gonna be you all. You only have each other. And so even the concept of sisterhood, they drilled that into us, and like to the point where I remember being afraid, because I always felt like my mom was telling me she was about to die. But you know, just really able to know that, yeah, I am my sister's keeper, and it does not matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter how angry she makes me. It doesn't matter what there is. Nothing should be coming between us to the point of breaking us. And I think knowing that, you know, there are people in the world, you know, that I can depend on without a shadow of a doubt, because it's in us, it's ingrained. God knows we've had our fights, we've had our
Yes.
Some of our inner circle has been there to witness, but to know that, like, in one moment we could be going at each other, but that next moment when these things have to come together, they come together and they shine, and it's because of what they put in us.
Yeah. So Nicole, you're in this every day. So and so what I need everybody to understand is Alisa's an attorney. She runs a nonprofit that's not her own, on top of everything else. But Nicole, you're in the trenches every day.
Every day.
Working it out. And when I tell you, every time I talk to them, it is always, oh, we've been talking to this person, and we've been doing this, and it's like, I love it because your energy is so amazing. And I pray for both of y'all, but I'm always praying for Lisa, because especially right now, I'm like, Lisa ain't sleeping at all. Listen, Jesus, just let her have a 30-minute power nap, please. But we're in this every day, Nicole.
Yes.
And what I love about what you guys stand for, what your parents, the gift that your parents gave you, that I want other children of entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs and community leaders and social advocates and things like that to understand that, seriously, it's a gift that you're being given. You don't even know it. You don't even know that you're being injected with this gift without any control. But one day it'll manifest itself in your life, and you'll be able to withstand. And so, Nicole, you're doing this every day. Why is this important to you? Because you're really, listen, both of these women are highly educated. Seriously. So any day you could be like, yo, Lisa, so yeah, about that, I'm just gonna go get a job. But you have it.
Yeah.
And so you're in the trenches every day. So why is it so important for you to maintain this stance in your place? Like, no, this is happening, and I will make sure that it does.
You know, it's almost everything you just said. It's ingrained in us. And watching my mother and my father, who, in addition to us having a nonprofit, they both still work. And they both are doing a lot of work in addition to volunteering. And watching them, I said, I wish, and my father says it all the time, he said, I wish we would have started Charlie's Place sooner, and different things like that. And for me, I'm looking at the bigger picture and saying, how do we help our family sustain, and not only our family, our community? How do we build generational wealth? How do we make sure we are really not just creating short-term impact, but long-term impact? So that is what keeps me going. You know, we joke because I'm like, okay, what am I working on? Is it Sisters in Business, A&P, or Charlie's Place? And some days it's all three, right? And especially right now, when this first happened, I had a sense of feeling overwhelmed because it was like, where do we focus our energy? Is it with the youth, right? Is it with our businesses that we're supporting? Is it with their sisters in business? So really looking through all of it and saying, what is the common thread? And it's really about how do we create change for generations to come? And my parents have always been my motivation in saying, mom and dad, I wish they wouldn't have to work like that right now, right? And other folks in the community that I see, but they have a passion to keep working, but really saying, how do we set people up to really not only just survive, but thrive in life? So if that means that I'm working really hard right now, balancing all three of these initiatives, I'm going to keep doing that. Yes. I know my sisters get irritated with me when I send them messages about, hey, this needs to get on the calendar. I need your bio. I need this. Did you all respond? Like, we have an event coming up for Charlie's Place, and I've been on the family about, hey, did you all do this and do that? So, that's my passion. I'm trying to create generational wealth and making sure that we are thriving in life.
Yeah. So I'm going to have share a moment that I was having yesterday. Well, actually in the last couple of weeks, I just kind of really, because I'm not the kind of person who's starstruck. I don't get super excited about, how people go, oh my God, I wish I could be like, I've only ever wished I could be the best Colette ever. That is all I've ever. So I've never really been starstruck. I never really had this wild admiration for anybody. And so I called in an emergency to my mentor yesterday and said, listen, okay, so I don't have anybody to look up to, like I'm 10 or something like that. And she gave me this assignment, you need to write down, it's not about looking up to somebody, it's about seeing qualities in people that you admire and then wanting to understand what they've done in order to get there. So this assignment was so simple. Write down 5 people that have qualities that you admire and say why and what those qualities are. Well, I started that at 8:00 last night. By 11:30 last night, I still had the notepad and the pen on my lap. I got 4. I didn't get 5. So this morning I was like, look, I got 4. Right. But one of the people that I put on that list, and I'll tell you what people's responses were when they found out about it. But one of the people I had on the list was Beyonce. And the reason why I had her on the list is because I love her business savvy, but the most important reason was her ability, her and Jay's ability to create generational wealth. Their children are worth more than most families that I know are worth. And so I admire that thing about her. And so when you talk about generational wealth, I think a lot of times we really don't even know what that is. And we don't pause enough to go, okay, wait, let me find out what that is, or let me find somebody who's modeled that and then ask some questions. So then when I shared my list, people were like, okay, can you be serious, please? I'm like, I am being serious because I'm not a believer in impossibility. So in my mind, none of it is impossible. I can meet whoever I want to meet.
Absolutely.
So I love the fact that you're focused on social innovation, social change, and generational wealth, because a lot of times those things don't come together. And a lot of times when we start talking about generational wealth, we start talking about it from almost always from the aspect of what are they called? Network marketing. It's just about the only time you hear us talking about generational wealth and the idea and the concept of it. And when we don't succeed in that space, then we go, okay, well, off with the generational wealth thing, not thinking about it anymore. But it's like, no, but there's still ways to do this. And so it's exciting to hear that you guys are incorporating that in what you're doing and having conversations around that, because at the end of the day, that's the greatest social change I think you can have. The word says money answereth all things. And so if you've got it, you've got an answer, right? You have an answer to the things. So I love that. So let me ask this, because you guys have talked a lot about your impacting the community, but I want to know, because I know there's an answer to this, but I want to know how A&P, Sisters in Business, Charlie's Place, especially right now when we all have the opportunity to do it, all of us right now, equal playing field, have the opportunity to do this. What does your global impact look like?
That's a good question.
Have you thought about it?
I don't know if I thought about it like in that, but go ahead, Nikki. Sounds like he was about to say something.
I have thought about it, and it was something that I thought about a lot more back in 2016. So I talked about my graduate work, but the full title of my thesis was called Ain't I an Innovator? The Missing Narratives of Black Women in the Field of Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And one of the things I really looked at was not only the historical lens of Black women in innovation on the domestic side, but even internationally. And so I had a chance to go to South Africa, and I saw these threads that happen, and I traveled to Jamaica and different places, and I saw these threads of what happens. We are innovative and creative people that have come out of times of crisis across the globe. And lately I've been going back to it. I'm actually getting ready to kick off a webinar called Ain't I an Innovator? To really remind us of our innovative power. To say, how do we tap into it, but remind us of the innovative power that has always run through our blood and is all over the world. And since we are in a virtual space right now, we can tap into people all over the world. So that is something I've been thinking a lot about, and really going back to that work and saying, yes, that was written in 2016, but I really feel like Ain't I Innovator really has a voice now in this space, because we have to remind people of, let's shake off fear and remember your innovative power. And it really comes off of Sojourner Truth's Ain't I a Woman? And during that time where she was pushing and saying, recognize me, my worth as a woman, and not a slave, right? But I have value. I have things that I contribute to the world. And so when I came up with that title, I was like, that's what I feel like we're fighting to show people, that we're innovators, we're creators. We've always had the power to do this. And I see it from a global perspective, how people have been innovating and creating all over the world. And we have an opportunity right now to possibly make those, well, not possibly, to make those connections and to wake up people on a global level to say, hey, you don't have to let COVID keep you down. You're innovative, you're creative, and you have the power to change whatever it is that you see.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because if people think that innovation is not happening right now, they are
it's happening.
Great. It is happening on a major global scale right now.
Yeah. I would also add in there, one of the things that I've been saying is that the world has shifted. And so I think we're living in a time where things can transform. There's a lot of ways in which systems have created the society that we have, and those systems are failing us right now. And it's failing us all across the globe. And so I think this is the time of the innovators to really rise up and have those conversations and join forces in creating what is it that we really want to see. And so I know Nicole and I have had conversations where you have people who are in decision-making positions, and sometimes those conversations have been very frustrating. But on the flip side, I've had a lot of really encouraging conversations with on-the-ground, frontline people in different segments who have said, look, I'm not waiting on my boss to give me permission. My boss doesn't even know what to do right now. We're going to do this. And it's been kind of amazing just to see how folks are slowly pushing forward on things because they just have to be done, because somebody just has to make a decision right now. And so I think as we see the world transform, I think it's really going to be phenomenal to see what is birthed out of this time, because we know at the crux of all of these kinds of like crises and times, things come out and we're like, wow, this is where we're at. So I'm excited to see some of that. The folks who are really creating change, even though there's a system that's failing, but still kicking to stay alive and to stay relevant. There's still this huge undercurrent of folks who are grassroots or a little bit beyond grassroots that are doing some amazing work. I think for our business, I've seen it a little bit in the political space. And so I've done some political consulting, and just some of the clients that I've had to say, okay, this is a time where campaigning is looking different for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's been really amazing to say, instead of being frustrated that you can't necessarily go door to door, how are we connecting to people differently? How are we really getting people onto the issues in a different way? How are we creating community in a different way? And, we're seeing new people who haven't been discovered before kind of emerge. We're also seeing groups that were very segmented to one audience getting now a global platform. And so I do think that the world has shifted, and I think the change agents are on the job and on the move. And so I'm excited to be able to add to like the social consciousness of that, so to speak.
Yeah. And I think I've said this probably for the last couple of weeks, that those who are not collaborating will fail. You cannot go at it alone right now. Now is not the time. And I don't care what you do in the world. If you are trying to go at it alone, this is a time where you have to connect with other people, make decisions on your toes, and respond, because the door of opportunity right now is so wide open. While granted, we have to stay in our homes, but the door of opportunity is so wide right now that if you miss it, and it's going to close soon, it won't be as wide as it is now, because that door is going to close. But if you don't take advantage of the opportunity right now, and I've been having conversations with so many different entrepreneurs who are going, I need it this time. I needed this time to sit back and innovate and think and really put the energy into that thing I've been thinking about for 3 years that I've been wanting to do, but I've been driving in my car from one meeting to the next meeting and taking up my time in that way. So I am so excited about everything that you all do, everything that you're doing. I am honored to be able to watch your progress from the sidelines, participate when I can, and partner and collaborate. And I'm just super proud of you guys. And anybody listening to this from Michigan understands the feat that that they get. Like my peeps from Dallas, Fort Worth, they don't get it. They don't understand the battle that you all fight every day, because it is just a different space, a different environment, a different mindset. And so I am excited that you all are champions and that I get to champion you, because you guys are doing some amazing stuff. And please give your mom and dad a big hug for me, because if it weren't for them, then you all wouldn't be who you are. And so I'm grateful that you've been brave enough to pick up the mantle, because everybody's not brave enough to do it. And so I've been recording season 3 of Realize Destiny Radio, and it's been so rich, and so like all of my guests have blessed me so much. And so I'm excited that I get to do this, and that I get to know you guys and participate and watch. So last question we ask everybody: what's the reason you decided to even connect with Red Development Group and say, whatever y'all doing, I want to do that?
And I think it's divine order. I mean, I think from the time that we connected, I feel like we found our tribe, like-minded people. But I feel like every time we come in contact with you and the group, it's like an impartation, and it's just exciting. It's like, I almost think of like the passage when Mary and Elizabeth met in the bed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just feel like my spirit leaps, and it's just reassuring and reaffirming. So I really think that like Red Development is anointed, not to make this churchy, but I mean, honestly, like the motivation that you get and just that reminder that like, yes, we're on track, we're doing this. So that's why it's a God-given divine assignment, and I'm here for it.
I would echo everything that she said. From the moment you sent that email, like Colette said, she actually emailed us to provide prizes for our pitch competition. From that moment, it was an instant divine alignment, because earlier that morning I had been praying to say, okay, how do we get the rest of this together? And here you go offering prizes, but it wasn't just prizes, it was so much more. So it's an alignment, like Lisa said, and I am happy that we were obedient to the call when it came. And I would say to anybody out there listening, there are always going to be divine moments. Regardless of what your faith is, there are always going to be divine moments when people are going to be sent to you, or you are sent to people, and you have to be open to knowing and receiving when that happens. So I'm glad we were open and ready.
Amen. So am I. This has been so good. We've talked about so many good things, so many more things that we could talk about, like, being able to switch from being free to being paid, and
Ooh, yeah.
but this has been so good. I appreciate you ladies so much. I know Reggie echoes the same. We love being connected with you guys, and we are here to support you. And one of the things that I want everybody to take away from this, Sisters in Businesses out of West Michigan, Red Development Group is headquartered in Fort Worth, Texas. But one of the things that Alisa said was, we're their tribe. And what that means is, number one, if you're an entrepreneur and a business owner, or an aspiring entrepreneur and business owner, figure out where your tribe is. And they do not have to be in your same town, in your city. Part of my tribe is in New York. Another part of my tribe is in North Carolina. I have tribe members all over the place. So don't get stuck by the boundaries, because if you're an entrepreneur, you have no boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
The only boundary is the one that's in your mind. And if you put a boundary on your mind, it's because of you. It's not because of anyone else. And you have the ability to create change and be innovative and use, social innovation as a tool in your business, regardless of what that business is. So I'm grateful for these ladies. You can connect with Lisa and Nicole on Facebook, on LinkedIn, with Sisters in Business on Facebook and LinkedIn, and A&P Consulting is on Facebook and LinkedIn. So I advise you to connect with them and watch. They are doing some great stuff. And so I promise you'll be blessed just by watching them and getting excited about what they're doing in the world. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you. We always appreciate it.
You're welcome. So remember to connect with Red Development Group on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments. If you have a comment or a question for myself, Lisa, Nicole, Reggie, leave a comment, and we promise to get back to you, or any of our previous guests on the Red Light. Thank you again for joining us and hanging in there with us. We love you with all of our hearts. And until next week, we'll see you.
See you.
Safe. Yes.